You know, every guy needs his dad to in high school, right? Because they need their dad, right? To be with him, right? Because you're not going to go to your mom and say, oh, Mom, I have this dad's problem, right? This guy's problem. You need your dad to talk to, right? And I never had him, so I kind of like need him.
Okay, what I want you to write down here is I am competent.
But really my goal is, after graduation, I plan to join the service. I haven't made up my mind yet if I'm going to the Air Force or the Army. You know, I'm in between.
Loved and appreciated.
Right now, what makes me happy is that somebody's looking after me. Somebody cares for us to reach our goals. That somebody's caring for us, mostly. That's what makes me happy. Because nobody gets this kind of attention. Not everybody.
Competent, loved, and appreciated. Now, and these are 3 things I like about myself.
So then when he came, you know, I didn't really want to accept him coming into our class, you know, talking to us. I was like, who does he think he is to come in our class and, you know, just take over like he did? And then after I started listening to him and understanding what he was talking about and the messages that he was bringing us, I guess I started to understand more and look at myself.
Based on the successes that you've accomplished, based on what you can do, write 3 things about yourself that you like.
If I want to reach a goal, I think I'll do it, you know, because I put all my effort to my classes. And now with this class that I have with Rafael, I mean, it has been helping me even more. I mean, even in my finals, I mean, I have been having a lot of fun, and I know that life is not that hard, you know, because you guys have been teaching me a lot, and I really like this class. I mean, I hope you keep doing that in other schools.
If you said, Rafael, we want you to say 1 sentence and get out of here, and make sure it says everything you wanted to accomplish, I would say the one thing is that your effectiveness is exactly equal to your self-worth. Everything you do, everything you accomplish is exactly equal to what you believe that you can accomplish. If you believe you can do it, nothing can stop you. If you have all the talent in the world and you don't think you can do it, nothing will do it for you.
Go with the flow, go to college, I guess.
When you plan your life, when you plan to come into a job, who do you want to sound like? Isn't school the right place to learn how to live life? Operation Jumpstart was designed to first and foremost give the kids in the high schools in the inner city a very clear vision of where they could go if they could really see a different picture that they're now seeing. If a child can't see a target, that there's no way that they can possibly actually go about accomplishing it, getting a sense of direction. They have to have something to aim towards, and we did this in physical ways. We played with footballs and asked them to toss a ball in the air, and then I would ask them to try to catch a ball with their eyes closed, and the message there was, you can't catch something you can't see. So my first function in Operation Jumpstart's first function was get the kids to see and believe that there was something better than they had seen before. It has to be on the way down when it gets bigger. Are you going to close your eyes? No, why can't you catch it? You listen. All right. Okay, we'll give you a week to practice.
Oh, let's do this. Have everybody close their eyes, and when you're about to throw it, you know, like Eddie, and Eddie open his eyes and catch it like that.
So you make the call out the name?
Yeah. They treated us well, very, very good, and I think it's helped me a lot to change and think about stuff in the future, because they talk about careers and goals you have. You have to set a goal, and I think, you know, he gave some ideas, and I think it's helped me a lot.
If you stand tall like an important person, you can't feel weak. If you look up, your whole body state changes. If you breathe deeply, fill in your lungs, you feel really, really powerful. I'm going to show you why, okay? Let's say everybody who's sitting up, sit up real straight. Totally straight, really sit up straight. Okay, now what I want you to do is everybody take your arms, make a fist, and bring them up into the air like this. Reach as high as you can.
And now try real hard to feel depressed. Look up, smile, reach up, sit straight, reach, and try to feel bad. Come on, try to feel depressed. Try to feel depressed if you can. Reach up, smile, keep smiling. You got it. Okay, that's it. Can you feel depressed?
People talk about attitudes. People talk about being a winner. I wanted to isolate it into a very, very simple concept, like the letter A, an A state. That's like you're either on or you're off. You're either on the bus or you're off the bus. In order to perform well, to study well, to communicate well, to think highly of yourself, you need to have a target mood to get yourself into so that you can really feel like a successful human being. And I wanted to distill that from any other behavior. Like, this is what it takes to feel great. And usually music will do that. Dancing will do that. Communicating with your friends may do that. It's to get yourself into an excited, aroused state where you feel like nothing in the world can stop you. Once they could taste that, I felt that we could talk about other things and use that energy to learn some specific skills.
Hey, is this a brave lady? Yeah. Is this a special lady? She sure is. Okay. I want you guys to listen up for a second. How do you feel now? Real good? Did that make a change in your state?
Yeah.
Which way?
Positive.
Positive.
Two things would happen. One is that the students would really get a feeling for what it is like to get off themselves and support someone else, so that they would have a first-hand experience of how wonderful it really feels to be rooting for somebody else. And I also felt that they could probably transpose themselves into Claudia's shoes and vicariously feel what Claudia must be feeling. It wasn't just for Claudia. I think that Claudia felt like $1 million, and she had never gotten a standing ovation from anyone and may not have expected one. So she was very jazzed about this whole thing. But I also thought the students would think, gee, we're all getting a standing ovation too, and it's long overdue.
Do you see what a contribution you just made to Claudia's state? Do you realize if Claudia now wants to go out and create a system to free people from oppression, how much more support she has from you and how much more power?
Yeah, I guess it reinforced it, because I was at a point where it was just like, forget it, you know. So then it was like, it just reinforced things, kind of made me, you know, motivated me, basically, to go ahead and want to do something. Because I didn't even bother applying for any colleges or anything. So now I'm going to go ahead and go to junior college, and I guess maybe transfer or something. I don't know, maybe I even want to go to the Peace Corps. I was thinking about that, too.
What's up? Terry, you next.
Firefighter.
What did you want to be?
What did you want to be? Firefighter.
Right. I want you to come up with something as outrageous as you possibly can. Something that is like almost beyond the imagination. President of the United States, something like that. Do it. No, this is very, do it, okay?
I think that he came to help us take a larger or a better look at ourselves, to look at ourselves deep down inside and to understand ourselves and be more encouraged to go on with life and to be successful, so we won't have to live the way we're living right now. I mean, some of us are in some pretty bad situations, like myself, and you know, I don't have much encouragement. And when he comes, you know, he encourages me to come to school and, you know, to succeed and just go about doing my goals, or like succeeding in whatever I want to do, which is a psychotherapist.
Medical doctor. Staff writer for the Other Times, entertainment, public section.
Prosecuting attorney.
Pediatrician.
Study electrical engineering. Either a electronics technician or a video editor.
Teacher. Science is like studying the nature and all that.
Well, you want to be a biologist, a chemist, a biochemist, a physicist?
Like, yeah, the forest started studying about all that.
Would you like to be a biologist?
Yeah.
Okay. 5 years from now, right? Mm-hmm. Have you seriously thought about becoming a biologist and the steps involved in becoming a biologist?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to pick one, and let's just pick an MD for a second. Okay, so what we're going to do, MD, 5 years.
Well, this class has been helping me a lot in deciding what I want to be and deciding what I'm going to be doing each year to become somebody, you know. I want to be a medical doctor, and I really want to get there. So Rafael and all his stuff, you know, has been helping me a lot by showing me what to do step by step.
What university are you going to go to, do you think?
USC.
Okay. What steps have you taken to explore USC?
I'm just going to that program right now, and they're, you know, like helping me to get more into it, you know,
But when do you need to have an application into USC?
Oh, I already turned it in.
Some of the students, like Aurora, for example, is very interested in becoming a doctor. Interestingly enough, had already begun doing some of these things. And I pulled them out and I dissected what Aurora actually was already doing for the class and showed them how a Gantt chart works. A Gantt chart is something that was invented by an industrial engineer in the 1920s. And it's like a little milestone chart where you take maybe a 5 or 10 or 15-year project and you break it down into certain target dates graphically. Aurora, for example, had already done some apprenticeship. She had already decided what school to go into. And so she needed to know, but by such and so date, I need to submit an application, or I may need to have a certain score in a test, and so on. And I got him to thinking about the methodical process of planning for success. So this is, and before then, you also had the nurses training. Okay, so that's previous to that. This is project number 2, and these are actually previous projects. This is the way a career is planned, which means now are you going to go into private practice? Are you going to go into a hospital? Have you thought about what kind of environment?
Well, first I'm trying to work, you know, like I'm planning to work in a hospital, see, but I'm planning to help poor people too, because when I was small, I mean, I suffer a lot, and you know, it's hard for me to see, you know, people that is suffering and they don't have money to, they cannot afford to go and see a doctor. So I'm planning to go to different places in the world to help people too, because that's what I want to do.
Neat. Who thinks that Aurora's got a darn good chance of meeting this goal? Okay, she sure does. Okay. Architect, hey, Roberto. What do you need to do to become an architect? Let's have everybody help him out. 3.8 GPA. How have you figured you're going to improve your GPA from 3 to 3.8? Did what Doug McPhee do last week here? Were you here when he did the slant method?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, was that helpful for you? Did you remember that? Okay, that'll give you that 1/8 of a point just like that, guaranteed.
So here's the way it works. Slant works like this. S-L-A-N-T. What we know about learning is that if you sit in the front row or the front 2 rows.
Doug McPhee brought us 25 years of experience as an educator who is interested in accelerated learning and also restructuring the classroom. He's committed to making some changes in the educational system by taking methods that have been proven to work effectively in learning and motivation and other aspects of improving children's performance.
All right. So if you sit in the front and you lean forward, you're 2 steps on the ladder to success in doing better in school without studying anymore. You don't have to study anymore, I promise. So, ask questions. Talk to the teacher. Nod. Just nod your head. All you got to do is nod your head when you agree or disagree, or whenever here's a really good way to psych out your teacher. Every time they look at you, nod at them. Yeah, got it. Okay, cool. Sure, you're saying. Sure, right. But listen, if you do these 5 things, you'll get better grades.
What I'm planning to do, when I'm planning to be, in 10 years, is to have my own family and, get my own house. And if I got, some kids, later on, try to give to them, the attention, that some parents don't do to the kids, Because I think that a lot of parents right here, they just let the kid, go into a trouble and don't say nothing to them. And I don't want to be that kind of person in 10 years, later on.
I'm there, and I'm willing to, help them decide, what they want to be. Also, I would love to, share my thoughts, my feelings, and also I would like to get some feedback.
That's why it's so important to focus
on really supporting each other and seeing yourselves as part of a network. It isn't him that you're supporting alone. Every time you support each other, the support comes right back to you. This is a guy that you can count on from then on. But let's say if you are nobody in your family has ever reached prosperity. No, nobody has reached a PhD in college, and you might be the first one. For some people, would it be a little intimidating? Yeah. Like being the first one, because, is it really possible to come from your house, from your street, from your school, you with your name, you who you are, and really make it?
1971, President Nixon is looking for a way to fulfill his promises to the Hispanic groups who'd supported him. And he says, well, I have a position. If you can find me a woman who's of Mexican heritage, who has experience in business and in banking, I'll be glad to appoint her. Well, I mean, excuse me, but hell, that's hard. There were very few Mexican women who had that kind of preparation. And then somebody in East LA said, hey, what about Romana? They called up my mom and they asked her, what do you think? Would you allow us to submit your name? Mom talked it over with my dad. My dad said, well, hey, listen, it's a great honor just to be considered. We know you won't get it. Right. By August, they selected my mother from 51 other candidates in the United States for treasurer.
Another role model for the class was Ramona Manuelos, and she was able to really tell the little stories that went behind how a $300 storefront operation blossomed into this multi-million-dollar wholesale Mexican food facility.
When my mother met my father, she already had some definite ideas. She did not want to work for anybody the rest of her life. She learned to make tamales because in order to keep the restaurant business in those years, you had to sell not just tortillas, but tamales. And my mother was very lucky. Not only was she a hard worker, she was very conscientious and likable, and people gave her the business. My mom opened up a delicatessen. By this time, my father was working full-time in the company also. And she basically opened it up at a time when there wasn't any ethnic groups in that area. It was all white. And she opened up a deli to try and teach people how to eat Mexican food.
She was also one of the founders of the Pan American Bank, and this was her rebuttal to the widespread belief that Mexicans can't handle money. And she said, oh yeah, well let me show you how we can handle money, and started the Pan American Bank.
So a group of about 15 people, my mother was the only woman in the group, helped found the bank. She helped raise the funds, the capital with which to open the bank. And she's done all this through hard work, persistence, and not knowing she couldn't succeed. There was nobody to tell her, you're not going to make it. She just did it. My mom taught me one thing, and that's whatever you want to do, do it. Just move towards it all the time. Don't deviate. And I'll tell you that whatever your dream is, don't let go of it. Because without your dream, what are you going to do?
Crank backwards and see if you can see the movie that you made through your mind's eye. Crank backwards. Good. Now open up your left eye again and crank it forwards. Close your eyes and crank backwards. Crank backwards. Crank a little faster, a little faster, a little faster, a little faster, and stop. That's how the old-fashioned movie cameras work. Everybody got that feeling?
And I was thinking, wouldn't it be neat to do something physical like maybe cranking a camera? Because this way, we would be tying up something kinesthetic to something visual, to something auditory as they were listening to my voice. And as all of this was being actively done by the student, eventually to get into their mind and get them to conjure up every possible sense I could think of.
And what you're going to be doing is watch the huge screen as you crank the camera, and you're seeing your life unfold 1 year from now. It's like watching a scenery go by from a passing train. You can see the events that happened to you, where you went to out of school, maybe the job that you got, maybe the school that you went to, some of the people that you met. And now you can see yourself cranking that thing faster and faster. And now you are 20 years into the future, seeing a movie about what your life has become. When you're 20 years older than now
Now take the crank and crank it backwards and see the movie backwards in black and white. Look around yourself in your imagination and see what kind of a space you're living in. Are you living in a house? You have the power of hope now to paint the picture if you make the decision that you want to create this with your life. I tied it in also to this idea of Time magazine and them being the person of the year, and then getting them to read about what Time might have said about them, what might they have done in the past 20 years that would merit their being on the cover. And right after the exercise, of course, we wrote down some of the specific things that they had seen. What about your profession? Did you see any feeling about your income, your accomplishments, your family's feeling? What did Time magazine say about you?
Well,
how did you make it?
It said that I had struggled through college and everything, and I had gotten a PhD in government.
But you had a PhD in government?
But I'd become a social worker and put out a home for foster kids.
And you're running a home for foster kids? Right.
I'm going to join the police academy, you know, and I picture myself as, you know, one of the top, you know, cops around the field.
Right.
You know, I just plan to have, to accomplish everything and look back and, you know, tell everybody that I made it, you know, especially my family, because I'll be the first one to graduate.
You want to make a better life than your parents had?
Yes.
All right. Did everybody hear that yes? Is that a strong motivation? Yeah. Like, I'm not going to put up with this crap anymore?
And that's made me go on forward and to think about it and to push myself, as well as to help other people, my fellow students, to make me, yeah, go and do this. It's great for you.
For example, me, you know, I didn't have any ideas, you know, to where I want to be, you know, when you guys, you know, came over here. So, you know, I started to think about, you know, where I want to be in the futures and everything.
So now I'm just ready to go to college. I'm trying to find ways and things that I can do to prepare myself to go to college, you know, set my goals out like Rafael told us. Set goals and follow them, do them, and we'll be on our way.
So I don't know how I'm going to implement it, because I know it was always since I was young, I always wanted to be a teacher. So somehow I got to, you know, implement ecology into that. You know, ultimately I want to be an author, you know, and maybe get some of this stuff written in books and stuff. Maybe get my own school, like an alternative school, you know, with the basic foundation being a love for the earth, I guess you'd say, you know.
Okay. Okay, you know what? All right, this is too low, you guys.
The Tree People is an organization that's interested in making schools ecologically aware of how important it is to have trees. And it's a wonderful relationship between my program and theirs, because I have all these kids who are looking for great things to do, and here we can give them a very quick project that has some very, very immediate results. Another thing is I let the kids know that there was a seed of greatness within them, and a tree is a manifestation of how that seed comes to bloom if they nurture and put in the attention and the effort, and someday they too will be a beautiful tree. There'll always be a seed even if they don't take care of it, but if they do, here comes a great big tree, and that was really a wonderful thing to see.
Hold hands around the tree. Everybody. Everybody.
Oh my God.
We are the tree.
It keeps a lot of students from gangbanging, and this way we all get together and work together as a team.
Yeah, oh, of course, I think people in the community would, you know, help each other and plant trees, because, you know, it looks better with, you know, a community with trees. It looks better instead of no trees, no nothing. It looks cleaner. The area looks cleaner.
For me, it's been great because I got to know other people that I never talked to and get to know them better. And it's good. I mean, it's a good project, and I hope it gets extended around.
Yeah.
You're gonna see people from outside coming here and helping us, and, you know, doing something for the community besides themselves. And people are gonna think, hey, these people do care, or something like that, and maybe other schools will do the same.
So you do feel like Operation Jumpstart should continue here?
Absolutely. It should be expanded to other schools too. I know you do a lot for the community and for the city, and I commend you on that.
What do you think the effect of the kids? What is happening with the children that have been involved in this class? What are you seeing as an effect?
Well, I see immediately involvement. You know, we're trying to create more of a system, a routine to get kids involved in school spirit and care for the community. And hopefully in time this will carry over so that you know, they can help other students get involved too. Right now we're starting with a core group.
The long-term effects of Operation Jumpstart, as I envision them to be, are that the students who are in this class will be much more inclined to be aggressive about going out for their future, and also maybe even more fearful of doing nothing about their lives. I had conversations on the phone with some of the teenagers who've told me that for the first time in their lives, they're thinking seriously about what kinds of behaviors they need to engage in to be somewhere 20 years from now. I've had parents tell me that their child has been transformed in the past 12 weeks. They're more focused. The one thing I brought into this program is unconditional support. They feel that whatever they would come up with is absolutely fine as long as it's going in a forward direction. So they now, hopefully, will always feel that they're entitled to ask for what they deserve. I always made them feel they deserve it, and I'm hoping that that message sticks through.
You know, I would like to see all my friends, you know, like when I see them in 10 years from now, I like to see them, you know, a doctor, a lawyer, you know, policeman, chief, whatever. You know, I would like to see, like, you know, that, because that would make me real happy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This program should go everywhere, almost, hopefully around the world. But it should be expressed to everybody in the community.
Everybody participates in the class. I mean, it's like they really like it.
It boosted my self-esteem.
It sort of helped me to decide what it is I want to do with my future.
I hear, you know, a lot of, you know, of my friends that are in this class, they, you know, they may, you know, the dreams, you know, get alive again.
You too can make a difference in our educational system. For more information about Operation Jumpstart, please call the following number.